I'm at the beach. Got my coconut water. I just had some food. Do y'all drink coconut water with the pulp or no pulp? Because I love pulp, personally. I love pulp. Yeah, I'm at the beach. I'm in New York. I took a spontaneous trip to New York. It's nice. It was right, I think. I needed to get out of Montreal. It's really nice to be here. See friends and hang out at the beach. The water's nice and cold, so it's nice. I haven't been inside, but maybe I'll go. I wanted to talk about change today. The only thing constant in life is change. Everything's constantly changing. Everything. And not just the things that are easy to see, like time goes by, we are aging, we're getting older, our fingernails are growing, our hair is growing. It was quiet and now there's an airplane that's going by. Things are just constantly changing all around us all the time. Because of that, we're faced with the reality of impermanence. We're faced with anicca. We're faced with the fact that nothing is permanent. We think that this is our body, and we think that from one second to another, we believe that our body is also still. Or we believe from today and tomorrow, nothing changes about our physical reality, our physical existence. But on the microscopic level, on the atomic level, we have atoms in our body that are constantly moving, the protons and the neutrons and all the atomic particles in our body, on our skin and within, are constantly bumping against each other, constantly rubbing against each other. From a scientific perspective, our body is constantly moving and constantly changing, even when we are completely still. And to take it away from our body for a second, because that might just sound really meta and overwhelming. If you look at the flame of a candle, you think you're seeing one flame on the candle, but in reality, every single second, the candle is emitting a different flame. Every single second, that fire, that flame, that spark is being emitted and then going, being emitted and then going. So every single second, the flame is moving, going. Every second, it's a new flame. We see it as one flame, but it's many, many flames. Things are constantly changing. Things are constantly changing and in flux. So to look for a stable reality, to look for an unchanging reality, to look for stability, to look for is not possible. To look for that, actually, we're cutting ourselves off from reality just in the desire to look for that stable state. Even rocks are constantly changing. Even the atoms in rocks. And even if we forget about the atoms, forget about the fact that everything is made up of protons and neutrons or whatever that are bumping against each other. I'm not a scientific person, but I know that as a fact. Let's forget about that for a second. So even rocks near a riverbed or anywhere being stepped on, or water brushing up against the rocks, constantly eroding the rocks. Little particles of sand and dust are constantly coming off of the rocks, and constantly the rocks are being eroded. So even rocks, in all its stability, even rocks are constantly changing. So truly, to look for a stable state is to cut yourself off from reality, because the truth is things are constantly changing and will be changing. And there's freedom in that. There's so much freedom in that, because we are constantly changing. We are constantly changing and have the power to change all the time, whenever we want. You know, I think of myself. I heard this actually from another YouTuber making a video about this, but she was saying, like, if we think of the self, we can think of the self as like a roll of film, you know, the film rolls, like analog film, video, a moving image, a film. Like, moving image is really just a bunch of different pictures that are put together really fast and look like a moving image, look like a video. Like, this video that I'm taking right now is actually just 30 frames per second. Every single second there's 30 frames. So if we think of ourselves like this roll of film, you know, we think that we're one image, or we think that we're one person, but actually every moment we're different. Every day we're different. So we look at ourselves and we see ourselves as maybe like frame 1 in a roll of 100. We see ourselves as frame 1, and then maybe frame 5, and then maybe frame 6. But actually, like, if we want to, we can be frame 50. We can be frame 70. You know, but because we see ourselves as frame 5, we're actually frame 50, but we're constantly being brought back to frame 5 because we see ourselves as frame 5. But whenever you want, you can see yourself and exist as frame 50. You can be frame 50. You don't have to be stuck on frame 5. But because we see ourselves as, we think of ourselves as like this contrived idea. We have this story of who we are in our heads. And so we like to hold on to that story. We like to keep that story. When in reality, we're constantly changing. Every single day we're different. Every single day we have the power to be different. We have the power to feel differently, change our minds. Oh my God, the freedom that comes from simply changing your mind. Normalize changing your mind based on new information. Normalize changing your mind after receiving new information, after experiencing new things. You know, I love changing my mind, actually. Sometimes I feel like people see me as stubborn, when actually I love to change my mind. I actually love to be wrong about things, because being wrong about something gives me the opportunity to learn more and to experience more. Learn more from that experience of being wrong, and opens my mind up to the possibility that there's still so much more to learn, because I know that there's still so much more to learn. So I actually love being wrong. I love to be corrected. I don't know everything. I like to talk sometimes, but I don't know everything. I love to be corrected, and I love to be wrong. And whenever I am receiving new information, I love to change my mind. I do it all the time. I can say one thing today, and tomorrow I learn something else and I change my mind. I change my mind so quickly. I genuinely love it. And so some people who maybe find me as stubborn or defensive, they're interacting with a past version of me that perhaps was those things, but that's not who I am today. That's not who I am right now. Because in truth and reality, people can only see you as deeply as they see themselves. People can only show up as deeply as they show up for themselves. So it's not personal when people see me or see you or treat you as a past version of yourself, because it's not personal. I know that. I try not to take it personally. Obviously, it can still hurt sometimes, or it can still be frustrating or annoying, because I'm out here trying to be a different person every day. I'm out here trying to genuinely better myself and grow and learn and transform every single day. So it can be, of course, frustrating when people aren't willing to meet you in that new spot where you are every single day. People can only meet you as deeply as they meet themselves. And the truth is, you don't have to be frame 1. You don't have to be frame 5. You don't even have to be frame 50. You can jump into any version of yourself that you want to be. You can wake up one day and decide to be vegan, or decide to be a gym lover, or decide to be a monk. Like, you can wake up whenever you want and be something completely different that day. And maybe the next day you're something else. It doesn't really matter. Every single day is so different. You can wake up and decide that you love lifting weights, or you love to do yoga, or you love to read, or you love to write, and then you can do that thing in that moment. Even if it's just for the day, who cares? But if you do decide to change and be different, then you can commit to that and you can do that.